All right, yo, I'm so sorry I wasn't here for like the conclusion of the case. I was a little sick. I'm sorry. I apologize. Y'all forgive me. I know y'all forgive me. Let me tell you this, man. Melly is fucking cooked. I'm gonna keep it a bean with you, okay? I remember when I first seen that Melly, that's a mistrial. I said, what the fuck? Number one, the mistrial happened dumb quick, right? So they went into deliberations the Thursday. I thought the Friday, they got sequestered. I thought the Friday, it was going to be like, yo, let's look at this, let's look at that. By the Saturday, they were talking about a hung jury or a mistrial. And the judge granted the mistrial on the Saturday, which was crazy. And I was like, damn, they're not getting like the weekend? And granted, I guess because they sequestered them, like these people can't go nowhere but be in a hotel and deal with a trial. And I'm like, fuck. Now, we get to realize what the real story was, right? I think some of y'all kind of know the story now. Melly's mom came out saying it was 9-3. And I was trying to like formulate my mind around this. I was trying to formulate my mind around this whole thing saying, what the fuck, right? I was like, what happened here? Now, let me compare this to the Tory trial, right? So in the Tory trial, and I was coming up with this, like, even though I was sick, I was like, yo, you know what this is showing me? It's better to have, and people have said this historically in any case, it's a reason why you don't want no witnesses. When everybody dead man tells no tales. And I said, damn, look at Tory. He got found guilty by that jury. Why? I believe that victim is alive. No disrespect, but if he had clapped Meg, and I'm not saying I ain't wish Meg to be killed or nothing like that. If Meg was dead, maybe even Kelsey too. You get what I mean? And it was a little bit muddiness, but ain't nobody getting on the stand to talk. Tory gonna still be out here be like, Lydia girl, Lydia girl, Lydia. Yeah. I ain't been broken a minute. Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. I know. Don't get in y'all feelings. I'm telling y'all what I believe. I'm not wishing death on nobody, clearly. What I'm trying to say is that I was looking at both of these cases and I said, Melly shit resulted in a mistrial while Tory got convicted? Only thing I could think of differently is that Melly didn't have one person testify saying he did it. No one. Not one witness showed up against Melly and said, oh yeah, he told me he did it. Oh yeah, I seen him do it. Oh yeah, no witnesses. There is 0 witnesses with YNW Melly. With Tory, you got the friend of Meg saying, yeah, like she gave a different story to the DA saying Tory did it. Then she tried to switch up. Then you have Meg crying, Tory shot me. Yo, you got witnesses, nigga. I'm sorry to tell you. Tory, so that's what I was thinking off rip. I'm like, damn. This is probably the biggest proof that if there are witnesses, you're fucking cooked. Then, and then we see the mom say, yo, the jury was 9-3 and basically saying Melly was innocent. Come to find out it was the other way around. It was 3-9 of there was 3 people who said that Melly wasn't innocent or said he was innocent, and 9 wanted to convict him. Let me see if I can find the article here. Let me see. So the jury came back. Let me see. Oh shit! I spelled juror wrong. Okay, here we go. I'll just use this. Okay, here we go. In the latest update in the YNW Melly double murder case, an individual who served on the jury is going public with details on their experience, including allegations of an explosive and manipulative fellow juror. As previously reported, Broward Circuit Judge John Murphy declared a mistrial in July. In court, Murphy read a letter from the jury and thanked them for their service in the prolonged proceedings. After further discussions, reviewing the evidence, and speaking freely amongst jurors, we're still unable to reach a unanimous decision. Now, our jurors opened up behind the scenes in the case in a new interview. Let's go here. And this was the new interview said. It says most jurors wanted to convict Melly of 2 murders. This is what the jurors said. Look, a person who served on a jury during the YNW Melly first trial for the murders in the YNW Collective, blah, blah, said that the majority wanted a guilty verdict. Speaking on the condition of anonymity, the juror blamed the mistrial on one woman who served on the jury and who appeared to be determined to acquit YNW Melly Demons for the 2018 murder of Christopher Juvie Thomas Jr. and Anthony Sack Chaser Williams. This is what the juror is saying. From day one, she had issues with the 4-person select. If you don't know who the 4-person is, that's the person who's going to be delivering everything to the court. That's the person who kind of like will start votes and kind of like, it's kind of the leader of the jurors, right? So they said from day one, that person had issues with a 4-person selected, at one point crossing her arms, so I guess it was a woman, right? By the way, this is another thing they teach you about picking a jury, and they teach you about your demeanor in court and who you need to seem sympathetic to. A lot of times when it comes to jury selection, they look at the mannerisms of women, because if a woman likes a guy, right, who might be accused of a crime, they will fight harder and they will be like, fuck it, I'm not participating no more until we free this guy. The thing with men who are usually more logical, even if they think someone is innocent, they might not fight tooth to the nail and they might give in, right? So that's the great thing sometimes about picking women who are very, sympathetic to the accused. So clearly, according to this witness, this person was. Look, she was explosive, manipulative. She was rude, yelling insults at anyone who had a different opinion. She was there to cause chaos, the former juror said. During Von Dar, where prospective juries are questioned to be whatever, the woman said she had previous experience with the legal system because of past family issues. She insisted that this would not have affected her ability to serve as a juror. On the last day of deliberation, the former juror said that while it appeared they were 11-1 to convict Melly of manslaughter, which, by the way, this is also interesting. I'm going to tell you why this is interesting. 11-1 to convict Melly of manslaughter. Remember, manslaughter was a late charge that they put in to a possibility with the jury, because, and that wasn't going to carry, there's no death penalty with that. So the one that had the death penalty election was first-degree murder, which is capital murder in Florida. That would have the death penalty, but they put another charge that people could think about, or the jury could think about, called manslaughter. You know what manslaughter would be? Hey, he's playing around with the gun and he didn't mean to kill the guys, but he did. Maybe he's playing around with the gun, he accidentally shot, or maybe maybe he shot them trying to wound them, but they died, right? So his intention wasn't to kill. Do you get what I'm saying? And they're saying that was the charge that the juries. So by the way, this is good news a little bit for Melly. Look like that first degree murder charge doesn't hold. Why doesn't it hold? There ain't no motive. So a jury thinking about this is going to be like, why the fuck would he want to kill his best friends? Why would he plan to kill his best friends? How could it be premeditated if he's not planning to do it? If we can't believe in this whole planning, it's not premeditated. That's why they threw the manslaughter in. Do you get what I'm saying? So I guess maybe the closest thing for a conviction was 11-1 on a manslaughter charge with deadly weapon. And they said the woman who was the one pulled 2 other jurors aside and spoke to them for a few minutes and convinced them to come to her side. It said then she came over and announced to the group that they had changed their minds. But when another juror asked why she was speaking for them, she exploded, the former juror said, adding that the woman hurled insults, including gay slurs, at the man who questioned her. Without an agreement, the judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd. The juror says, it's something we're never going to forget. We were shaken at the end. The former juror said that the decision to speak up about what happened behind the scenes resulted from reports that Demon's mother, which is Melly's mom, Jamie Demons King, that was saying that the jury was deadlocked at 9-3 in favor of an acquittal. The juror said no, it was the opposite. So it was 3-9. 9 of the jurors believed Demons was guilty. That's not true. I don't want somebody out here changing my vote. You tell a lie enough, it becomes the truth. The next hearing, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So that's the current thing. Melly would have been pretty much cooked. There was one woman, and this is how it shows the how important jury selection is. One woman basically stood her ground and said he's not guilty. And the way she got a mistrial, she convinced two other people to say, why are y'all voting for him to be guilty? Maybe he didn't do this. You want to put the power of killing someone or having them incarcerated for years in your hands, and there's these little muddiness about the trial? And those people agreed. And that's how they deadlocked the entire process. When it was 11-1, I'm pretty sure like the foreperson or whoever was thinking, okay, you know what? We could take a day or two with this and try to wear them down, that they could realize that voting for guilty is the right thing to do, and we'll get unanimous. Except that person looked like they weren't going, and more than they weren't going, they felt the opposite because they were trying to convince other people, right? Wow. Anyway, so here's the latest news on his retrial. They're saying it's going to be beginning on October 9th. Say hearing was held in Broward County for rapper YNW Melly, at which they set a date for the rapper to be retried. So he's going to be retried for the same thing. Now, you know, I've been trying to talk to some lawyers about what does this mean. Do defendants have a better chance of beating it on a retrial? Do they have a better chance of getting a better deal? Do they have what's the stakes going into this? Because it's almost like everything is essentially going again like it's brand new. Remember, Melly's lawyers were going for mistrial multiple times during the trial. Theirs weren't granted, but it was granted after the jury can't come to a decision. So what the fuck is going on now? So here it goes. It says the 12-member panel couldn't reach unanimous verdicts after 3 days of deliberation. The prosecutors who have been seeking a death penalty choose to retry the case with the new jury. Now, there's going to be some complications too. I'm not too sure if because they chose to retry the case, do they need to also renew them seeking the death penalty? Because that might also go back up to, if you don't know, that went to the Supreme Court the first time, damn near. Or at least I think it was the Supreme Court of Florida. A unanimous verdict is required to convict or acquit a defendant. Murphy asked the jurors to keep deliberating after they said they were deadlocked, but they relented and came back a third time. Prosecutors say that Melly, whose legal name is whatever, is shot, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this was part of the hearing. Let's see if we can hear.
Jamie Benjamin is on, and so is Daniel Erickson. So I didn't receive an objection from the state, and that's what we had reset for, to give her time to review it.
Understood. So there's nothing.
Cell towers, the distance of cell tower sector bands.
This is a prosecutor, and this is the defense attorney. Clearly, he's a lead. Remember the black guy who I told you was doing a great job? I didn't see him too much. But this guy, who, by the way, remember I told you Oh, sorry for pausing this. Remember I told you this guy? I was like, yo, he's mad aggressive type shit. Hold on, what the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah, okay. Remember I told you this guy was like mad aggressive? Clearly, it worked. A lot of his aggression worked in him kind of getting at some of these witnesses and getting at, some of these police officers who were testifying. He went crazy. So it looked like he's a lead.
In addition, Your Honor, I would indicate that
It was on the cross-examination. Mr. Adelstein asked him about the distance. He responded.
Okay.
Something you left,
Okay, so here's Melly. You see Melly?
your colleague indicated that hopefully next week you'll make some determination whether you're in or out. All right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Judge, would you want me to send you the excerpts from Detective Moretti's testimony regarding my motion?
Yo, this guy does suck for Melly.
Pardon me?
He went from wearing these nice suits with a turtleneck to now he's back in like these chains. Like, yo, his life has just constantly been in bondage for like so long. It's kind of sad. You know what I mean? Just look at him.
I try to read everything you tell me, you want me to look at, and if you haven't brought it up yet, you need to send it to the state. I don't know if she's gonna want to rebut something that was in there by another people. If you want to send something, you let the state know, and, send copies to everybody. The hearing's concluded.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Melly and his lawyer.
Kobe.
Yo, they got to go through this process again.
Good morning, Mr. Gray, can you hear everything?
Okay. Now, here's the thing. Let me say this. This is a possibility, and I don't know if anyone has really looked into. Now, granted, this is unlikely because the state has gone for the death penalty. They want this guy to die. So it's unlikely that they're going to come back and be like, you know what? There's a real potential that this case just gets blown up and he does, no matter if you hear the story about this one juror, it blew, they didn't complete trial and convict him the first time. There might be another juror like that. You're wasting state resources. And yes, he's a popular rapper, and yes, it's a quote-unquote heinous crime. But what about now when it comes to, the state? Maybe they're like, hey, if they were almost going to convict him of manslaughter, how about we offer Melly a second degree, because I think it was first degree manslaughter that they put on the thing that he was about to get convicted for. It was 11-1, then obviously went 9-3. But we have no semblance of knowing if it was going to ever be first degree murder. That's the only thing that the death penalty would be on the table for, first degree murder. What about if the state comes back and says to Melly, right? And let me pause this for a second, right? Yo, Melly, we'll give you second degree manslaughter. You got to plead guilty, so 2 counts to second degree manslaughter, Florida. Let's see what that carries, right? Think about this, right? Remember, it looked like the jury almost convicted him of first degree manslaughter. How about they say to him, yo, we'll give you second degree, right? Manslaughter, 2 counts, which is punishable by up to 15 years in prison, right? 15 years probation, blah, blah. How about if they say to him, yo, for the 2 counts, we're going to suggest to the judge that you get 10 years. How long has he been locked up? Since 2018. It's 5 years since he's been locked up. Think about it. This might end like this, even though I don't think it will, because I think the prosecutors, they look crazy. They look crazy, and also they really think this guy is so bad that they look pussy if they give him something that's even favorable, right? You can't go from one the guy to die to basically giving him 10 years. But a possibility could be yo, we're going to offer you 10 years. I think in Florida, you might have to do 60 or 70%, which literally would make Melly have to serve 2 more years. Then he could get out on probation or parole or whatever it is. He'd pay a fine, this and third. They're going to run both sentences concurrently for the 2 counts. And maybe he does 10 years, which, again, would allow him to get out maybe in 2026. If I'm Melly, now granted, I'm only thinking about the case. I'm not thinking if he really did it. If I'm Melly, y'all come to me with this, yo, take 10 years, I'm taking that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Darkboy90 says, yo, Act, they're definitely not giving in, what? They're not giving him that? Hey, well, here's the thing. Remember, they didn't get the conviction the first time. This is a public case. A lot of people have seen it. They have already said, oh, shit, the last jury couldn't make up their minds. I would imagine the second jury that they're going to pick is going to want to say, yo, if y'all couldn't convict him the first time, y'all got to come with some new info. What new info they're going to get? Nobody's testifying. Nobody wants to be around this fucking case. They keep just talking about like all these statistical data and obviously GPS stuff, which obviously matters. But like, again, Melly's team is even fighting that it's his phone. Not saying that he wouldn't get, I think that he probably will get convicted on the next trial. But if you're the state, why take the chance? You're just wasting resources. Go to the nigga, tell him, yo, we'll give you a second degree, run both concurrently. We want 10 years, even if they say 12 years. Say 12 years and he has to sit in jail for like 3 or 4 more. He's been locked up for 5 already. He's been locked up for 5 years. Let's say he got to stay in jail for 3 to 4 more years. What more do you want? Unless you're only looking for the death penalty, which I just don't think this is going to get the death penalty. This case just is heinous, but it's just not that black and white and clear that this guy did this shit on some really maniacal, cold-blooded shit. At least with the evidence shown that you're going to give him the death penalty. So why not just get close to 15 years out of him and call it a wrap? Somebody said that's a good deal, but no. Nasty, of course I'm reading the Rumble chat. What you talking about, nigga? Somebody say he's definitely getting convicted the next trial. Hey, this was a proof of, yo, his lawyer team did an excellent job choosing the jury. Hey, obviously we won't ever know who that jury was that said, nah, we're not voting that he's guilty or whatever. But how much you want to bet that person listens to a lot of Melly? How much you want to bet that person who called over the other 2 jurors and say, yo, let's go this way? How much you want to bet that person listens to YNW Melly? What do you think? I think that person's a fan. I think that person knew the system, and I remember they said that they already were familiar with the system by something with like their family or whatever. I think they were familiar enough with the system, they liked Melly enough, and they finessed their way through jury deliberations or jury picking that they weren't disqualified. Or maybe somehow the defense knew like they were like sympathetic, allowed them to be on the shit, because that person, they were going for Melly. Yo, they flipped 2 other people. Scony, you say that's you taking a deal? I'm telling you, if there's a deal, you gotta take that bitch. iPhone user says, yo, Ack, you chatting, bro. You was wrong about the Tory trial. You're 0-2. I mean, you could call it 0-2. I did think he was gonna get kind of convicted if I had to pick. I did think he was gonna get convicted, but we're finding out this wasn't like a normal like, oh, no conviction. Like they kind of think he did it. It was, they had a super juror on that shit. Which, by the way, anytime you see somebody accused of something, you hope that there's a juror who fucks with you that much. I wonder if that woman will ever. Well, actually, I don't think she'll ever do interviews. The woman who was fighting for Melly, because I guarantee that, through the courts, they're going to be looking at that woman for jury tampering. If you ever remember, I compared this case to the Vibes Cartel case. In the Vibes Cartel case, there was a situation just like this. There was like two jurors, or one juror actually, who refused to vote Vibes Cartel guilty and basically went to other jurors and said, hey, listen, you should change your vote. But what they did was they offered money. They said, yo, if you change your vote, I can make sure you get paid. And then the person who they were trying to get to flip, they basically told like, yo, somebody's trying to get me to change my vote and offer me money. And that kind of blew up in everybody's faces. You know what I mean? But yeah, this kind of happens, right? Like, you know, shit. Let me see if there's any more shit.
Be able to set that position for the first time in this case.
Melly's always them good spirits, man. How much you think that lawyer getting paid?
We're not aware of any of those type of issues. Are we, Madam Clerk?
You could throw in that these guys are traveling internationally too. I was watching some of their things, but except jet lag. I'm healthy. I'm right here.
Okay. Let's discuss this part. Should Melly get bail? So he was denied bail as well, obviously. So they're gonna hold him in jail until the